on at different time now?
Just until Christmas time. Just until Christmas. Then we go back to 9.
Oh, that's right. This peaks. That's right.
Yeah.
You're probably only 12 hours a day.
Yeah, I am.
Oh, that's what y'all doing now, 12?
Yeah.
They're running a full-time shift somewhere between 2 in the afternoon and working until 10 to 2 o'clock in the morning, right?
Hey, Miss Ella, how you doing? Jamie, Ivan, how y'all feeling this morning? It's cold. It's cold out here.
But you're still being paid like a part-time person. That's the right. I thought when you work past a certain hours, they had to pay you. Right?
They do. No. What happened? You want hours, right? This is what they're going to take. You want the hours? I'll pay you straight time. So self-negotiate with that individual. What you do with me?
Or they self-negotiate.
I self-negotiate.
And then it's right. So that way, and if you don't take the hours, then they cut you.
This is your managing director, Chris Randolph.
Yeah, it's cold. It's cold, Miss Ella. It's cold here. Little snow flurries in the air.
Very much appreciate it if you would visit our website,
It's cold.
www.spcr.org, and give us any amount of money at all.
You volunteer for a double, but you're only getting paid regular time?
Donate button at the top of the page, which allows you to give us money via PayPal or any debit or credit card. And we are not supported, I'll remind you, by the government in any fashion. We do not receive a penny in any fashion from National Public Radio nor from American Public
That shouldn't even be a question, though.
Pacifica or any of those other outlets. We are 100% independent, 100% listener supported, and we would very much appreciate you giving us anything at all. Again, that's www.spcr.org.
After Ali in the Jungle, y'all, we're going to start the show.
That'll take you to our PayPal account.
What's up, retiree? What's up? What's up, brother James? How you feel not to have to come in this cold morning?
We can, in fact, provide you.
I'm all right, Miss Ella. It's a little cold.
Yeah,
we're gonna start the show after this. Our theme music come on. Ali in the Jungle.
So again, please visit www.spcr.org. Right at the top of the page, there's that donate button. It would mean the world to us. It will actually keep us on the air. That's no joke. A lot of times you hear that from public media who, in fact, actually do have corporate support and who do, in fact, have government support. We have neither of those things. So basically, it's pretty simple. You donate money to this station, or before you know it, the station goes off.
Yeah, I hear you, brother James. You know, I got southern bones, man. I never got used to this cold.
Community radio needs community support. So again,
what's up, sis?
www.spcr.org. Please visit the website. Give us some cash. We do appreciate it. And
couple more minutes, we're gonna start the show. After our song come on, you know, Esposito over there talking to the previous show host. You know, he likes to talk out here.
Thank you.
All right, y'all have a good one now. All right. Everybody that's coming out.
Coming on.
Yeah.
Jaquan Rivers, all right, hello. April Ponder, Nutter, hello.
You ever listen to this song? The words? You zoning out? You gotta let it song.
You gotta let it song too.
They got a dog sniffing. Wow. Ali in the Jungle. Like y'all sitting in jail. Oh yeah. Man, this our show. You ain't never listened to the music that we come in on? Man, you about to get fired, man.
That's okay. It's alright. Ain't really the first time I got fired. I just get back pay, so that's alright.
Yeah, I hear you. Brother John, what's going on?
Well.
Where's John at?
He might be coming in a little later.
Take a nap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I double 10 times harder than I do.
Yeah, he gets a nice hour for that.
Yeah.
How it does it.
Yeah, we got 12-hour days too, man. This gonna be a rough.
What's that, up until Christmas?
Probably.
Y'all gonna come back to a whole bunch of mosquitoes.
Yeah.
You know how it was today?
It wasn't too bad today. I mean, it was heavy, but it wasn't too bad.
So they were going to do 125, 130,
Today?
I've stopped thinking about 170,000.
I don't know if we had that much.
I thought that was a different thing.
And during the regular season, they only run 2, right?
No, they run them all.
They run them all year round?
Yeah.
How many vans do they run up the TV wall?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because they don't have the luxury like at Oregon Avenue running until 2 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Right. So that's crazy.
Right.
I know he said he was
Can you imagine that? 2, 10, 4 to 10, 4 to 6, whatever the hours are. At what point in time does it get considered full time?
We come on, the shift?
The shift, hours in the work.
I would say anything after, at the bare minimum, 8.
I would say.
All right now, y'all be good. Appreciate y'all. All right. Oh yeah, you too. Keep praying for us.
I got your wife here.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Since Louisville has less than 6-hour full-time positions, I would say the meal period is the guiding language.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another live edition of the 623 Lives Matter radio show on WOOM LP 92.9 South Philadelphia Community Radio. It's always a pleasure for you guys to, for us to have our listeners that listen to the show and everybody that watches us on Facebook Live, and then when we put it on YouTube. Thank you guys for joining the YouTube channel, watching it, and everything, and sharing it. We appreciate it. But before we get started, I want to have a moment of silence for one of our brothers. He lost his father yesterday, and his name is Chris Anthony Miller. He works on Secondary 3 Brown. Very, very vocal member, files grievances, comes to work, works hard. And yesterday he was telling me about, earlier this week he was telling me about some situation with his father. And, we want to just have a moment of silence for him and his family. All right. Again, we say good morning, and we're going to get right into it. I know yesterday I put a post up to try to promote the show about one of the things that we needed to do in this local, regardless of who's in office. We need to educate our members better than what we do right now. Last week, I had a hearing with a member, a newer member. And me and Espo was talking about this yesterday, and I know he could tell the frustration in my voice when I was telling him, because it's just the lack of involvement from our leaders when it comes to our newer members, just members' involvement, period. But this particular instance really rubbed me the wrong way. Last week we had a hearing with a member, and she was terminated. She didn't know that she had a shop steward. She didn't know anything. So one of the members that work on her belt reached out to me. I put the grievance in on her behalf, had the hearing, got the member back to work. And during the hearing, she was saying that she didn't even know anything about unions, and she didn't know about anything, any of her rights. All she knew was that when she heard the word termination, she thought she was done. She didn't know anything about the due process, the grievance procedure, none of that. But after the hearing, she said something, man, that kind of just grinded my gears. She said there was some people that was telling her about the retro check, and she was wondering when she was going to get it. And that shocked me, because here's a member who doesn't even know about unionism, doesn't know about a shop steward, didn't even know anything. But the people, instead of our leaders telling her, hey, you're in the union now, these are your rights, this is your contract, this is what your dues contribute to, this is what it pays for, they decided to tell her that if you vote yes, you're going to get your retro check. Man, I had to do all I had to keep my composure.
How long has she been a union member? Do you know offhand?
She's been a union member for about 6 months.
6 months. So she never received a letter from the hall stating where she could get a collective bargaining agreement, copy the bylaws.
But I don't think they do that anyway, do they? I don't think they do. I don't think they do that. They tell you to come down to the hall and you'll get your $50 back from part of your initiation fee.
Do they send that in the letter to all the new members?
No. If we don't tell them, they wouldn't know. That's why you never see them come down there. Because if somebody telling me, hey, look, we're going to give you $50 back, I will come down to the hall and get it, regardless of whatever. I will come and get my money.
So you would say, as a principal officer, you would definitely address this
oh my goodness,
issue with a way for them to get the collective bargaining agreement online, if necessary.
Right.
Or come down to the union meeting and make sure they can get a copy there at the union hall when
right.
they come to the meeting. They can get that $50 back that they get taken
right.
out extra in assessment or whatever.
Right.
So they are aware of the union rights and responsibilities and such.
Right.
Things that they could access so they can be more informed, more educated.
And that's what we need. That's exactly what we need. And that's one of the things we talk about doing when we get in office. Because if our members can take care of the problems on the shop floor, that will alleviate some of the problems that happen between the company and our members. That's why now, when I file a grievance for a member, I always walk them through what the article that I'm filing under for their behalf. I let them read it, and I let them understand, hey, look, this is what's going on. I filed a grievance for a member that wasn't in my particular area, but he needed some help. So I filed it under Article 17, which is to pay for time, because he was getting short pay. Mm-hmm. His rate was not correct. And also 41 Section 3, because that's the full-time progression is 48 months. But he was being told since he started in October, his full-time date in October, that November and December did not count toward him gaining seniority for that full-time job. But that's not true.
Well,
so,
the seniority list was updated, and you can tell exactly when the seniority date is, and that's when the progression standard starts.
But it says in the contract, when you get that, when you start that job.
But when you fill a bid,
right,
regardless of whatever time of the year that it is, when you fill a bid, you will gain seniority within that center.
Right.
I think that is the case.
Right.
So when guys were filling bids throughout the course of the years, they were always going to make seniority. That was the impression after 30 days,
right,
working within that center,
right,
regardless of whether it's November or December.
There you go.
Because it's an active bid. I think the language for acquisition of seniority more pertains to people coming in off the street.
Right.
That are going to come in, and that they won't be able to obtain seniority during that time.
That's correct.
Because the member already has seniority.
Right.
He's just qualifying
for the job. Qualification and seniority is totally different things.
Two different things.
Right.
Right. Yes, I agree.
And so
it's just a status change of your position at the company, rather than
coming in off the street, being a new hire. So
being a part-timer.
Right.
Basically being a part-timer off the street.
Right. So
being a full-timer off the street. That's
what I did for him is I showed him what it said in 17, because his pay wasn't right, because he was supposed to get the bump up to the top rate on October the 27th, 2018.
Yeah.
But they're saying, now this is the hall telling them this. The hall is telling them that, hey, look, no, it doesn't count. They told him it didn't count. So when I gave him the grievance, he gave it to his steward over in his area, and the member and the company and our officials, they're trying to sort it out. I guess they're trying to sort it out. But he made it known, hey, look, you guys told me this. This is what the contract says. This is the articles I'm following under. So now they're trying to work it out. But we'll see. I mean, I don't know. But these are the things that we need to tell our members. We need to educate them on what the contract says and what it doesn't say. You know what I mean? So that's what we need to do.
Well, you're supposed to, first of all, with the way the language works, when you work in October, that's day one of your seniority, and you get back credit even when you go past the date, which in this case it would, because the guy's going to qualify for the job, because it's 30 days to qualify, right? And there's 30 days till you gain seniority, right? And if November doesn't count, you're still qualified for the job come whatever date in January it is. You work when they pass, you get retro credit for those days. We as senior members don't always get the months of November, December, not according to our seniority.
Mm-hmm.
It's, each year is each year.
Right.
I mean, that's the philosophy
Right.
behind it. Only people coming off the street, like new hires,
they're the ones that's trying to gain seniority.
Aren't going to have expectation
right.
to stay, right? Are going to leave after the second full week of January,
right.
Big deal.
Right. So, and that's one of the things that we have to work on, have to continue to educate our members. When we're at the gates, a lot of, even I remember James Romeo had said something to me, oh man, I think it was before he switched shifts. He said, if you guys weren't letting us know what's going on with the contract, we wouldn't know anything. And for some reason, Espo, you got to help me out on this one. Why do you think, I have an idea, but I want you to explain it to me. Why do you think the Teamsters in general have a hard time? I'm not going to say a hard time. Why do you think they don't want to educate the members? I mean, why is that? Because they preach it. They preach it. We want you to participate. We want you to get involved. We want you to do this. But when it comes to something as easy, as elementary as education, they don't do it.
Well, let me think about that. If I was an elected official, my first objective, I guess, is to maintain the office so I can carry out a plan that I have, an agenda for the local. Right. But if I'm on the direction of another individual, which we have seen is the case in certain regions, then I have to follow an agenda according to them. At the same time, try to maintain my status as an elected official. Right. The easiest way to maintain the status quo is to keep people not knowing what happens, right? You can see that most times when you go to the hall, they don't address how many things they've ever took to arbitration, what kind of losses they've had. And I'm not going to say over attendance issues or whatever, because they're pretty straightforward. You need some kind of medical documentation to kind of help support your case. Most of them, I think, get worked out before they go down the panel. Some people might have issues with the boss, or they have family issues or whatever, which UPS, rightfully tries to help them accommodate. And no one's sitting there trying to bang them over the little bit of time that it takes for that to address. You know what I mean? Everybody's kind of, will kind of let that slide a little bit as long as they understand. It's the stuff in the middle that is the problem. It's the lack of staffing that comes into play. And when people aren't down watching the house, make sure nothing is taken out of the house from the members. You're gonna, they're gonna be disconnected, but most people are disconnected. 30% people, right? A little above 30% voted. Right. So most people are disconnected. Most people have low seniority. You would say, right? The majority of our members are low seniority. They wouldn't even know if something came to their house to go vote on. They're not aware of how it will help them, how being united together will help them. It's just an agenda.
But I think the Teamsters need to do a better job of educating the members. Because like I said, a lot of our issues could be fixed.
Structure.
Could be fixed. Related. Could be fixed at the shop floor. I know we talked
about this before, right? We're talking about Hoffa is a delegator, and that's his job to help delegate to improve the strength of our union. That is, we all agree that he is solely responsible when a contract takes a nosedive or the standards get lowered because the people who he delegated authority to didn't follow through with the objectives contained within our bylaws and our Constitution, which are trying to preserve and protect benefits that we have gained through collective bargaining, what our dues are paying for, us as being long-term people, so we don't get undermined by people coming in that are just looking to make a quick buck. Right. And there's many of them that come in and look to make a quick buck, and they get their little deals and little side things, and especially now during Christmas time when there's a need to have people all over the place. It's more about who you know. Yeah. When you get in front of than about the precious seniority list, which was talked about in November.
Still talking about it, man. Still talking about it, because we have a problem right now at the airport. Soup's working everywhere. I put 2 grievances in today. Soups is just working everywhere, right? Bringing in cars. They got Soups coming in from other buildings, you know, and it's a situation between, I don't know if it's our e-board and the company or what the issue is, because if people want to work, they should be allowed to work. If the people don't want to work, then don't work.
Don't work.
Right. But don't say, well, I gotta go to this center, I gotta go to this center, and I gotta go to that center. Look, those peoples and the people in those centers may not want to work, but you got people who do, but can't because out of fear of being retaliated against or a grievance filed, you know, not against them per se, but they might be the reason why the grievance is filed because they have less seniority than the other person. Well, you know what I mean? So something has to be done. It's too much.
There's a system here that really creates a problem, that people get worried about affecting their own economic status when they try to speak up, or have, you know, other people will speak up on behalf. You know, you let, just say, Jimmy Smith, who just got off the street, he worked 30 days as a full-timer, and he's not full-time, right? But I've been here for 10 years, and I didn't get any of those hours, and I want the company to make a big, you know, settlement with me because I got jerked. I would have worked them. Right. It obviously should always go to the affected person when they file, and it's the obligation of, let's say, the union and the company to let people know who worked where, so issues can be addressed quickly before they end up to be a big bill of 30+ days. Right. You know. Right. There is no method other than you've found a grievance and conducting it with your shop steward, and hopefully that it gets investigated properly, that you'd be able to make to address the concern.
Right. Because I have a hearing tonight scheduled for seniority violation for one of our members. You know, they let senior people work, didn't ask him to work. You know, but it's just a big issue. Supervisors are working. To me, if it was me, I know that people want to work, let them work. Let them work. You know, let the company and our officials hash it out, but don't let the supervisors do all the work. I mean, it's ridiculous in there, man. It is ridiculous.
I can say this. I would prefer to get called to go to a different building or center, especially during the course of the year, to go work in those particular buildings where they have a need before a supervisor works.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
shouldn't I have some kind of right to do that, since I am part of a national agreement and I have a right to go grieve supervisors working? Let's say in these other buildings in the outskirts of the city areas or metropolitan areas, they have a greater increase of supervisors working because, I don't know, it's a little friendlier atmosphere, smaller group, little maybe tight knit together, right? But here, there's such a large group to draw from. There's no reason to have supervisors work. Just have enough people on staff to make something happen. You know what I mean? And there's other work that the union could capture to make sure that there's always work for people to do.
I mean, right now, as for his work, is work everywhere. And supervisors, man, like I said, they had them from Willow Grove, Westchester, you know, and I'm looking at them like, and I'm telling Clarence, our people sitting at home who want to work. They want to work, but they can't because of some, whatever it is that the hall is doing and trying to figure it out with the company. Something has to give.
Well, I'll tell you what the hall would say. File agreements. We'll get you paid. Right?
It's more to it than that, though.
What happens when you have a part-timer who's going to file that grievance and a full-timer is going to file the grievance, and there's no language in there saying they got a worker from a center? They just say, senior person, most qualified, wherever qualified. where's that going to be at? You know, where do you draw the line at what happens when you're not giving actually the stewards the time necessary to monitor the operation as they should, because they want to delegate that authority to them, especially with some of the new language created when stewards are going to get delegated certain job responsibilities.
This new contract,
And you got to make sure that they're getting paid for that time, or everything's going to fall apart. But we obviously have a need here for the stewards to at least do it one day a week, if not more, to kind of go around and make sure those things happen. I think that's very responsible of the union to get, you know, UPS to go do. You know, and that's what they should do. It's, you know, it's a basic issue. You want to be there to provide for your senior members who've been in the system a long time, who are more active, more vocal, more willing to go file a grievance as they become senior employees, getting, you know, the companies starting to cheat them with lesser senior employees. You know, discriminating them against their tenure here because they make a little more and they can save money with somebody less. That's why there's always a top rate system, you know, to kind of protect everybody from the, I don't know, undercutting.
The company,
undercutting.
Oh yeah, you know that they do it now. So you know they would do it then if we didn't have the system. You know they would do it. But like we were saying earlier, a lot of people just came on. We gotta educate our members. We got to. That has to be one of the top priorities of any leadership body. You know, you keep your members involved. They will always be involved with you. You gotta be transparent with them. You know what I mean? Well, all this stuff. She didn't know much about the union, but she knew that she voted yes, she's gonna get a retro check, and that bothered me, and it still bothers me. So again, this is WOM 92.9 FM. If you guys want to contribute to the radio station financially, you can go to spcrg.org, I believe it is.
I think so.
And donate. You know, this is Christmas. It's a time of giving, so please don't be shy. You know, we don't get grants from the government or the state or anything like this. It's just, you know, something that we doing. Well, the station manager Chris allowed us to come on here and tell our message of what we're trying to do as far as in labor and our local 623. So again, if you guys want to donate, you can go to spcrg.org. You know, it'll walk you through the steps. All right. Again, we also have a big election in 804 coming up. You guys know in local 804 that was the home of the last president before Hoffa, Ron Carey. You know, he was the one that led that successful strike in '97 against UPS. Those days of great leadership like that seem to be long gone and in the rearview mirror with what's going on in labor. It seems like, man, we just keep getting concession after concession after concession, and leadership plays a big role in that. And so what happens is now, I don't know if you guys know that there is a lot of elections that have taken place so far, and a lot of their members, a lot of the members have got rid of the old guard leaders that support Hoffa and got in new reform leaders that are looking to lead their locals in a different direction, a direction that's not, you know, back, or not, I ain't gonna say back, but a different direction from Hoffa and his ideas and everything that he's trying and has done. So we had 767, I believe it was, or I don't want to call the wrong name, but in Texas, with our brother Anthony, 767, they won. Then we had one, I believe, 371. They took out their guys. 651 in Kentucky. Those guys, they came through. It was tight, but they got rid of their guys. It seemed like their leader and Fred, they always going at it over there. I think that guy name is Mike something. I don't want to call the wrong name, but I think people are starting to see that in order to get rid of the Hoffa machine, his ideas, his mechanisms, everything he's done, you have to get rid of his foundation, everything that he stands on. And unfortunately, we have a local leadership that supports him, That's part of his foundation. So in order, and I know a lot of people don't like him here, but in order for us to move past him here, we're going to have to get rid of these guys in office. You know, it just has to be done. The core group of our e-board has been in office just as long as Hoffa has. 20 years.
Yeah.
20 years. These guys, like I said, the core group has been in office for about 20 years. Same as Hoffa. So you can't separate the two, because a lot of people, they try to separate them, and you can't. Whenever a principal officer says, well, I can't do anything to undermine the IBT, we're going to protest in silence, blah, 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 that's a problem, because they work for us. I had a guy tell me, another principal officer out in the Pacific Northwest, tell me this. He said, if you support your members and you have your members back, they will always have your back. No matter who's in office, no matter what Hoffa does, no matter who gets in after him, if you take care of your members, they will take care of you and stand by you and fight for you. But for some reason, Espo, our guys won't do that here. I have no idea. Well, I do know why, but they just won't do it. And I always wonder, what is it about Hoffa that makes certain leaders afraid of it?
You have a lawyer who can examine your records with detail and create cases against you from the way you conduct your business at the hall. You know, that's really what comes into question.
Right.
Will I get charges brought up against me where now I can't even, you know, do right by the membership the best that I think that I can do? I'm always going to play, you know, someone's looking over my shoulder. I mean, the auditor goes down from the IBT, goes down the hall and looks at the books to check to see what's going on, make sure there's nothing, I think. I'm pretty sure they don't always get every little detail, or things happen, or discrepancies happen. Did we ever hear about that at the union meeting? No. Don't hear about nothing.
Yeah, but the same auditor that comes to our hall, he goes to Fred's hall, he goes to O'Brien's hall, they go to 251's hall.
Yeah, the same principle.
You see what I'm saying?
Accounting concept should be there, yes.
So, you know, it's something has to be done, because if those leaders can step out and fight back, then ours can.
Yeah.
They choose not to.
I think it's a big deal.
I caught you.
Ooh, yeah. So, seniority, big issue.
Yep.
Right.
Seniority, education.
Education. We see that there's some definite gaps in the education model, that people were informing people just to get a yes vote, not really telling them, you know, that if their pay rate was over $13 an hour from the get-go, they would have got the whole general wage increase. You know, there are facts which they left out in order to support their cause.
Yes. But you know what, Espo, I found that out, that they are very, very, very good at that. They take something, they isolate something that fits their narrative, and they beat it to death. They beat it to death. They beat it to death. They beat it to death, and they use their title and their position to get it over. Because, like I said, and for 2013, the big issue was healthcare. They told us it was the same. It was the same in name, but not the same in coverage and everything. And so that's all they kept telling you.
That's very true.
It's
Not
Blue
the same
Cross,
in coverage.
it's Blue Cross, it's Blue Shield. It's Blue Cross, it's Blue Shield. Don't listen to these guys. It's Blue Cross, Blue Shield. And then when you got your paper from Team Care, it said it was Blue Cross and Blue Shield.
Well, it's Blue Cross and Blue Shield, but the actual way the plan works is different, because Blue Cross and Blue Shield services many different healthcare coverage plans, which pay out differently.
Yes, yes, it does.
We all know what
yes.
the is.
Oh, yes.
And the question is, would our funds that we have contributed on behalf support the healthcare needs of this local under the prior healthcare plan? Right? Would we have? Are we getting enough to have a quality healthcare plan like we did before?
Right.
That's really what the question is.
Right. I mean, we would have to sit down and look at, like you said, look at the books and everything, and find out everything, how we could do that. You know what I mean? But then, you know, you have to fight whoever. Well, when we get in, Hoffa will still be in there. But by that time, there'll be another contract after our term. So then that's a whole nother thing.
I think it's about clearing house with the current contract and
Right.
educating members and getting everybody back on board to some kind of standard that everybody can follow and make sense with, and not one that is like we had a conversation before, that UPS can manipulate to their financial advantage rather than to pay out what we believe is negotiated on behalf of the membership.
Right.
Everybody in here, and even at the union meeting, they talk about seniority is a use of determining something, but lo and behold, there are special exceptions. UPS can now use less senior people than
Right.
to go
They
to work.
pick this. They pick the center. How I don't.
I can understand, and I
get
told
that.
Shannon this before. I said, first the work goes to the center because they're the people that are qualified within the center to do the work, because they should have the most familiarity, especially with driving, with that familiarity of area. But there are quirks in the system, because you could have guys that leave centers that might be higher senior guys that could obviously knock somebody out of lower centers. So, for a good rule of thumb, I would say that the center goes first, and when the center loss is exhausted, that they go to the other qualified members in the local to perform that type of work, such as feeders, such as package cars, such as being on the preload or the midnight or whatever they need to do, because unload doesn't take any kind of skill.
Right.
When you scan with the scanners now, they tell you whether there's a missort in there, so really you can load trucks. That's not really like a super skill anymore either. Sort aisle, you could say, is kind of like still a skill, because you kind of got to be able to read the package and sort it out.
Right.
But when automation comes, and it's coming, that will be eliminated.
Yeah,
out of
it's
the
already
equation.
at. Do you have the automation organ app? 'Cause I know we got the two big units upstairs at the airport, SLS one, and then on the
They
other
don't
side.
have. I don't know when you say SLS. Is that like a machine that they flip the labels and they put it through?
Yeah, it's like a long conveyor belt,
Now,
computers and all this other kind of stuff.
when I left for back in September, this is what they had. You go through the system, it scans it, it puts a label on it. The guy sorted it out to a tote, and then the tote gets sorted to the box, individual box line or DA, wherever it's got to be
This
processed at.
system they have, it comes down to the two. I don't know if we call them belt splitters, but they flip the labels up. It comes down, it scans, and then this arm comes out and puts it through.
Puts it in the right bin.
Right.
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 Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and they have two of
Many
those.
pictures, yes.
They have two of those,
They need
and
them.
then they put them in the bags. The members put them in the bag, put the bag on the belt, and then that's how they
A
do
lot
it.
of gifts are small during Christmas time. They needed that particular
Man.
system to the flow.
It's
They're
bad
right
though.
there.
It's bad because I know the other night one of them broke down,
Well,
and man, it
to
was a
me,
time.
to me personally, I think I don't. I remember the building, but you said they expanded the small sort size, right? It's bigger now.
No, the small sort is actually the same size. It's the same size. They just have these two automation,
Machines in there.
right? One on the north side and one on the south side. So it's still the same size.
So when they created this SLS seniority list, right?
Mhm.
Did they disband the seniority list, or is there still all the areas working plus those two?
It's still all the areas, but it's like they divided them into three. It's the same area, small sort, still small sort. They just have SLS, and then they have small sort in another area, and then they just have the different seniority lists. It is the same area, Joe. It's the same area, doing the same work.
Doing the same work. So UPS felt a need to branch off magically this seniority list.
Yes.
To have create a preference of.
Yes, they did.
system.
Yes, they did, and they're manipulating it to the T, and so.
I wonder if UPS, when they created this preference order, did they now create job preference within the building for part-timers at the airport?
I don't know. I'm still waiting to get job bidding like you guys got over there, man. You know what I mean? That's just we still waiting for that. Still waiting for that.
We had a long time.
Man, we
First of all-
put the proposals in and all.
Listen, you guys do have bidding, right, per se, when you initially bid the job, but the job is supposed to be that bid for your career.
Right.
right? What you guys would want is a list of whatever those jobs are, put inside the center, and just bid within the center.
Right.
Which is quite simple, because UPS can determine where the work is or not magically say, oh, the work just disappeared one day.
Right.
Right. These are the jobs available. Go by seniority.
Right.
Do whatever.
Right.
It's not hard. It's pretty simple. Every year they change the bids a little bit down at Oregon Avenue because work kind of shuffles around, so they need to reorganize certain things.
Right.
Like for instance, there's probably room for 3 full-time E-rate drivers on the front half, right?
Okay.
We have 2 full-time E-rate drivers that we're working all year round, and we had 1 Article 22.3 full-time E-rate driver. That Article 22.3 job did not go off a bid with the 40. How does that work?
That's a problem,
right? Because the full-timers have job preference to the full-time work that's there,
right?
And since Shanahan wants to say who can lay off who, well, who gets laid off first, right?
Right.
If you treat it as a secondary list, then this guy's going to take preference over me,
right?
And you're going to say, well, you might have the same job, but I only need 2 today. I'm going to lay you off. And he's going to stand there because he's got a bid that's he can't get changed out of.
Right.
Right.
Man, that would be bad, man. Ooh, that would be bad.
But they've adjusted the work over the years with different people with different things, because it's quite unfair that those people get paid $5.40 less an hour to work the full-time preload.
Right.
That's just ridiculous. I can understand if there's a split shift job and you want to make a different rate. I don't agree with it, but I understand where you're coming from, that you're making a totally different, because it's something you can physically track. But when you step outside of that, that's the question. A guy that works the twilight midnight and then all of a sudden works the preload, well, he's working overtime as a full-time preloader. What rate is he supposed to get paid? The full-time preload rate? Because he's working as a preload classification.
Right, that's what he should get.
Right? Just as if he was to work package cars or feeders.
Right. That's what he should get.
The problem is that they let go the standard, right? By having you guys work the preload and not paying you the preload rate all day.
Yes, they did.
And the kicker is, they probably said we can't afford it because the air operation or some nonsense they want to run, right? And now they're paying people more off the street to go work that same air operation across the country, not alone just here, across the country, which I think is kind of funny.
Well, I want to say thank you to everybody that has been participating in the bylaw amendment, the signatures. We have about 28 pages full of signatures, and we thank you guys for that. Really very, very appreciative of that. Don't forget, January we're going to make the announcement. Well, we're going to make the proposal at the first meeting. That's how you have to do it. And then March meeting is going to be very, very critical, because
that's when the vote occurs.
That's when the vote occurs, and you have to have 2/3 of the people in the hall to vote on this amendment. And that amendment is, in plain terms, transparency during negotiations for our supplement. You guys saw what happened. I know you guys heard about what happened. About 33% of our meetings this year was about the jumbo vote, yes or no. The whole summer months.
Instead of the details and facts
about
why
why
the pension fund needs $6 million.
Why we couldn't get a better deal.
Will that hurt the funding if they don't get it? And then they'll have to go in and attack your raises. There's a lot of other angles that come
Right, you're right. And, I love jumbo, love them dearly, but I didn't want to come for 4 straight months. And here, in 1 month, you said 6 out of 7 voted. Y'all was in unison. Only one that wasn't. That was jumbo. Then the next month, he changed your tone to appease people, and then now there's a paper, supposedly, that Jumbo signed that he agreed to it. And I'm gonna be honest with you. Even if he did sign it, this is why we need this amendment, because we could call him out on it.
There's no clear set of facts for the members to observe, see, and discuss.
Right. But now you just made our point even more. Now we need transparency. Why didn't the part-timers get more guaranteed hours? Why didn't the 22-3s at the airport get job bidding? Why not? Tell us why. Because if you go to different supplements across the country, if you go to their website, Joe, they even have, I think it's Joint Council 10, they even have the time and date when the proposal was presented, and it tells you why it didn't go through. It'll tell you why it did go through. It'll tell you why the company said they wanted to reject it, and it'll tell you why they accepted it. I mean, there's so much transparency in that, in their supplement, that it makes it easier for you to vote. So
is that a right to work state?
No, not up there. That's the whole Massachusetts, New England, that whole area up there. It's amazing how different leadership is across the country. Transparency equals trust. You can't get no plainer than that.
Leadership is allowed to interpret the, bylaws and Constitution as they want.
Right.
But you see people who effectively put their duties first and make sure that the members stay informed and realize what their money is getting spent for.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
I can't tell you what my money is getting spent for at our level.
No, I can't tell you either.
I can't wait to find out what happens in January when they say whether they got the part-timers paid across the board or whatever. For the attendance bonus. I want to see that happen. I don't, since the IBT's already lost it and their, whatever local fought it has already lost it, I can't see how they can make a different argument that's going to work, or what lawyer would tell them that they can make an argument that's going to work. There has to be some subjective nature before you go take something somewhere, right? I mean, that's the point. Right. You can't just say, oh yeah, I'm going to do it because the members want to do it. You got to say, listen, we've had 4 cases. The argument is there's no difference to the case. There's no other piece of language that's going to change this. Nothing has been passed legally that says I can do it or not do it. The only argument that they have is that they're supposed to negotiate wages through the union. Right? And they didn't do that. So as a penalty, they have to go and do it. But there's nothing in there that states that till now. Till now. And it is only for the affected group. Right? I mean, that's how, affected group. But those people that have those attendance bonuses, the question becomes, what kind of raise do they get? Do they get the full general wage increase, or do they get, a progression increase, or whatever that it may be? Will they be making more?
Well, they will be if they continue getting that bonus. Have you heard anything about them stopping the bonus?
No, I believe it's on indefinitely because they can't keep people at the airport.
Oh yeah, you know that, and then and Amazon with them raising their wage, that helps. That really plays a factor into it. Because why would I go, even if I'm a seasonal, if I just want to do this job for a seasonal, why would I go to a place that's going to pay me $10.35 when I can go do the same job for $15? If I just want to be a seasonal worker, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to go somewhere making $4.65 less an hour.
At $13 or $15 an hour, whatever you want to call it, $13 an hour, you're starting off and you're getting an extra $2.50 at least an hour because you worked every day that week.
Right.
And it's 20 hours, that's why it's $2.50. You're now making $15.50.
Mm-hmm.
That means by the end of the contract, your rate should be somewhere between 19 something.
That's a good question to ask. Are they going to keep that bonus? Because if they do, they'll be making more money than the people that's been there 7, 8 years.
Correct. And they'll be paid more. Question is, and I sent Shanahan this about attendance bonuses and stuff and how they work and how the wages are calculated. Whether he read into it or not is all another story. But I sent him some information to kind of review and to talk about with him at some point in time in the future, because these individual employees could be getting their wages miscalculated in the sense of what they would get past working beyond the 5th hour, what they would get working beyond the 40th hour like it's happening now. How does that affect their wages? And UPS needs to figure that out. You start giving attendance bonus. That's why you always rather have hourly rates rather than attendance bonus.
Right. Something that I gotta say this. Now, Jumbo told me to put this on the radio. He's been talking about it like for the last few days. Now, there is a driver out at the airport who is going to be on vacation the week of Christmas, right?
Yes.
So, the driver says that his manager is telling him that he has to work Christmas Eve. And he said that this driver went to our principal officer and he asked him, can they make me come in? Now, according to Jumbo, if I'm on vacation, I'm on vacation. You agreed to it. So why do I have to come in?
Well, I think it's awesome that they actually told them that there was work available because that doesn't happen down at Oregon Ave on the preload. They'll use part-timers before they bring in another full-timer to go cover for somebody while they're off.
Right.
You know, which I could always, I guess, make a case for. Right. But work is work. There's work available. Right. UPS has to staff their operations. The guy doesn't want to come in and call off.
He's on vacation.
So he doesn't have to go call. Well, listen, whatever day they tell you
I'm calling. I'm off. And that's what I would have told.
You can't get discharged for one no call, no show. But just the simple fact is to protect yourself and not create a hassle. I'm calling off. I told you.
I'm not calling.
I'm telling you in advance.
I'm not calling because I'm on vacation.
Yeah.
That's just me. If I'm on vacation, I don't care if it's Christmas. I don't care what it is. I'm off. You can't make me come in on my vacation.
Usually I go away for vacation, but when I sit around the house, I do get upset that they don't know what to tell me. But I don't go out of my way to go do it because I know I work full time. I know what the job is.
Right.
I know that I'm a little older, so I know that it's probably better that I take the week off and not work during that week because I don't have the most cushiest job in the world.
Right. Well, now if I want to come in, that's one thing. But don't tell me you have to come in, and then the principal officer is signing with the company saying, well, you do have to come in. No. I'm on vacation. I don't have to come in. So, he wanted me to put that out there. So this is just something to think about. You know what I mean? Because that's
like mandated 6-day work weeks. First they got exhausted seniority list. If they mandate everybody, then everybody applies to the local. And then part-timers should be getting qualified to drive on Saturday if they wanted to because senior guys can refuse to work.
Right.
And UPS should be making an effort to get these guys qualified to drive. Listen, Article 22 force would help out with that situation. There's no doubt, right?
Yeah.
Right? And
what's up, Hector? What's going on, brother?
I wish that someone was here to clarify that again. Article 22 force would be contributed into a pension fund that needed money. It would make sense to have them around. Guys don't want to work on Saturday because it's Christmas time. They want to kind of hang out with their families. So these Article 22 force could cover for that time. It's kind of like a win-win for the membership, right?
Right.
But you don't really want to create a lower-paying job to do the same job.
Right,
I understand that,
right.
But they've already done and agreed to it. So if it doesn't happen this year, it's going to happen next year. So why don't we just make the transition now to figure out the issues over the next year instead of waiting a year later to, I don't know, figure it out?
I doubt 22-4, man. They should. It's going to be that whole thing is a big problem. I know we had said something in the show, one of our shows, I don't know, a few months ago. We had said that if you're going to create a job paying $6 less to fix something that you said that you were going to fix in this contract, which is excessive overtime and things like that, I don't understand that. Make the 9-5 language stronger. Don't give the company an out to hire people where they can exploit because, number one, they have no protections. They may be working who knows how many hours on the road, then come back. Then who knows what they're going to do to these 22-4s. And even Dennis Taylor himself said it on air. He does not know what the company is going to do with these 22-4s. That right there is a problem. Because if there is no definite explanation for what the job entails, then what you think UPS is going to do?
Well, I think Dennis Taylor's removed just for that remark alone, because when you're negotiating for 200,000 plus Teamsters members, in negotiated language, when you say, I don't know what UPS is going to do, that tells me you don't know what UPS is planning to do with what you have negotiated, period, through the rest of the collective bargaining agreement.
Right.
You only think you have a reasonable expectation. You guys didn't talk it out. The negotiations happened very quickly. I think that the negotiations happened on a very short time scale and really should be before when you're in the last year of the contract, negotiations should always start then to talk out the situations and issues as you have need adjustment.
Right.
Because of what you guys have observed over the past 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather go back to a 3-year deal so it's more focused on what the contract's doing and fix problems on a more pertinent time scale.
Right.
5 years is a big time.
Yeah, it is. It is.
That's what I like to say.
Yep. But I know yesterday I was talking about internal organizing. Myself, Joe, and the rest of our group, we reached out to a few people to help us, you know, get these guys out of office and protect our members and fight the company. So we had to do it a little bit differently. In 2016, there was a big meeting we had, and one of the drivers told me something I never forgot. He said, you know, you could put a team of 7 people together, but you will never beat these guys in office because they've been in there way too long. A lot of the old guard doesn't want them to go. They're comfortable. He said, but what you're going to have to do is get a group of about 15 to 20 people and have them do some internal working for you, because it's these guys have been in office for 20 years.
Networking.
Right.
Networking with the new generation.
Yes.
To, you know.
Right. So that's what we did. We got a lot of people. Now, most of the guys, well, I ain't gonna say most of them, but a few of them are at Oregon Avenue. They're doing some work. We got a couple of guys here at PHL. They're doing some work for us. We're really trying to do something real special here. And like I said on last week's show, all we need is the opportunity. That's all we need. And I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed in what we have in store. We just need the chance, just a chance, because we're doing a lot of work right now to get this thing done. But we're going to get ready and get out of here real quick. That's what you got. The last words you got, man.
I think that everybody needs to organize their area.
Yeah.
Try to stay informed.
Yeah.
You know, don't overblow people's minds with information.
Yeah.
It's very important.
Yeah.
Try to keep it to one issue a week.
Something that you got to work on, man.
Yeah, listen. I've been around a long time,
yeah,
and had a lot of things happen to me, so I have a lot of things in my mind at all times. And you're right. I try to cut it down to one thing at a time.
Yeah.
And I think I try to do a better job of that. But it's very difficult sometimes because a lot of things that I fight over are money into the pension fund, wage and hours for senior people to go get, to make sure that they get the preference they deserve, to make sure that the equal pay for positions is always honored and not undercut.
Right.
I think that's very important.
Right.
I think that we've experienced a lot of that under Team Unity. And if you're not unified in protecting the weights and standards of the job, then it's a big problem.
Yeah, it is.
I think that's how you build unity. You say, I am for you just as much as I am for this other man over here,
right,
which is really important, that we all understand we're all going to get paid equally, and that, you know, we all understand that there's a system of seniority, and we know what it is, and when it's honored, there's going to be a correction to it.
Right.
You know, there's not going to be this, you know, hey, maybe I can cheat this guy out of this and make everything, you know, look away, and then let it happen again, and then the guy gets mad, and then he turns his back on what we're trying to build here, which is a stronger
union.
Organization.
Right. All right, good people. Again, you know, like we talked about earlier, we got to educate our members. That's one of the things that we plan on doing. We're doing it now, but we really want to really hit the ground running when it comes time for our election, and you know, hopefully you guys put us in office, and we can really build on that, because we need to change. We need to change. We really need to change. But our goal is, like I said before, is to inform our members, reform our members, and then transform our members. All right, so again, inform, reform, and transform. All right, we're gonna get out of here. God bless you guys. We love you. Try to stay warm, and it's cold up here. All right, we'll talk to you next week. Again, we're gonna be out there with the signatures and everything else. So make sure you participate in that. God bless. We love you. 623 Lives Matter.